pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. There's one change to the agenda, correct?
Yep.
We don't need to mention the other two that are crossed out.
There's three changes to the agenda. These two, we will not be
Okay,
taking
so we're
action.
dropping those two because that was the published agenda. Okay, under action item 7A and B are going to be dropped. 7D will be moved up to A. Get a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Open forum. If there's anybody who would like to speak at the podium, this is a public open forum. Do that? Once, twice? Brooke?
No, I'm good.
All right. Okay. On to the consent agenda. Approval of the minutes, approval of bills, purchase orders, investments, resolution number 2024-49, designating polling place, donation resolution, donation from the Greenwald Lions, Melrose Fire Relief Association, Community Development Director step increase, payout number 6, 2024 Main Street improvements to Molitor Excavating, payout number 2, excuse me, Highlands Boulevard Extension, Northern Lines Contracting. Does anybody have any questions or, no?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion approved, second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. 5A, we have a presentation, actually an induction of Police Officer Adam Root. Please come forward. There he is. All right, where do we do this? Right here or over here?
Over by the podium.
All right, put this over. There you go, top for you. Repeat after me, please. I, Adam Root,
I, Adam Root,
having been duly appointed as a police officer for the city of Melrose,
have been duly appointed as a police officer for the city of Melrose
in the state of Minnesota,
and the state of Minnesota,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will defend, enforce, and obey
that I will defend, enforce, and obey
the Constitution and laws of the United States,
the Constitution and the laws of the United States,
the state of Minnesota,
the state of Minnesota,
and the laws, ordinances of the city of Melrose.
and the laws and ordinances of the city of Melrose,
That I will obey the lawful orders of my superior officers
that I will obey the lawful orders of my superior officers
and the regulations of the Melrose Police Department.
and the regulations of the Melrose Police Department,
I will protect the rights, lives, and property of all citizens and uphold the honor of the police profession.
that I will protect the rights, lives, and property of all the citizens and uphold the honor of the police profession.
With my life, if need be, to the best of my ability, so help me God.
With my life, if need be, to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Congratulations. All right. Moving on to reports. Police Department report.
Good evening. Our monthly statistics for October 2024. In the traffic area, 22 citations, 114 verbal warnings, 0 written warnings. We had 280 calls or requests for service, 273 last year at this time. Last year we were on ICR 2420, this year at 2827, so we had a 407 call increase so far. And we have 15 agency assists, which is good to see that they're staying on that teens range. We were last year about this range, and years prior we were sitting in the upper 20s and close to the lower 30s. So either nobody needs our help or everything's being kosher out there. An area to speak of, obviously we had some weather this week. That's going to be coming the remainder of the winter season. I don't think we get a repeat of next year, or last year, I should say, so please take the time when you got to go out and drive, leave some extra space between everybody that's on the road, and hopefully we can keep our crashes to a minimum and keep our insurance rates down. Any questions?
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. All right, city attorney report.
Yeah, you can see my report, working on ordinances. First item was just providing an opinion, proposal for dividing a property and confirming that, yes, that was permitted under our subdivision ordinance. Worked on the vacant building ordinance, which apparently has been still under review. And it's been a while since we've talked about cannabis. So, just as a warning that we're going to talk about it more next meeting. The state of Minnesota has given us a deadline of January 1st to have our regulations in place, and it'll take, there's two parts. One is, the zoning, where can these types of businesses be? The statute identifies, I think, like 13 different types of businesses, and where and in what circumstances would you want them? And then also just, we got just the cannabis regulation ordinance, and that's, to an extent, that's how are we going to administer this? When we get the applications, what's the process? And so it's addressing those types of issues. We started with the counties as a pattern and made some adjustments to, try to adapt it to Melrose. So something to look forward to. I know you're dying to talk about cannabis more, but you'll have to hold off till next meeting.
Bummer.
So, any questions? Go.
Nope.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Scott.
Scott. City Community Development Director.
So Scott just talked about the ordinances, which are coming to you in December. What he referenced, planning and zoning, will be having a public hearing regarding cannabis zoning on Monday, November 25th. Work continues on 406 Main Street. Construction of the new roof has now been pushed to Monday, December 1st. The reason for that is they were afraid if they started on next Monday, which was their original plan, and it went a little long, we would go into Thanksgiving and we would go into the holiday kickoff event on Main Street. And they wanted to avoid that. So that roof work will start on Monday, December 1st. Another traffic study was completed at the intersection of County Road 13 and Craft Drive. Prior to Quick Trip coming in, the traffic patterns on that intersection were high for 4 hours a day. The new traffic study has revealed that the traffic patterns are bad 6 hours a day. But in order to receive a traffic control measure from Stearns County or some kind of measure, the traffic patterns need to be bad for 8 hours a day. So we will be asking for another traffic study, I think, when something happens with Casey's North, the empty building. The traffic patterns need to justify it for 8 hours a day. And we're just not quite there yet. So all the plating work around the city is complete for 24. Road projects are done. The park board met on November 13th and decided that in 2025 they are going to bring a reservation system to the electric and water sites in the campground. There are still going to be some set aside for first come, first serve. The revenue in 2024 was $21,763.50. Our previous high year was 2021 with $14,592.69. So the campground was successful in 2024. We are looking forward to 2025 and the continued use of the park. We are looking forward to more additions, including pickleball. So those words have been spoken now by the park board for the. And we are starting to seek revenue sources, including possible grant funding for a new park out on Railroad Avenue between the future Roach development and the apartment building. The comprehensive plan chapters are being reviewed by the steering committee. We're going to have a series of upcoming community opportunities for comment, including by Planning and Zoning, the Park Board, and MATA. They've been consulted throughout, but they're going to be consulted now on the final drafts of the chapters. And we want to invite everybody to the Christmas kickoff, or the holiday kickoff, which will take place next Friday. The chamber is doing something new, and in our campground, there are going to be lighted displays in the camp sites, and you can drive through, kind of like a mini Melrose Bentleyville. All the donations, as you go through, will go to the park board. So we are grateful to the chamber for their support of the park. Other than that, meetings continue with developers, property owners, and individuals who are looking to expand in the city, plat, and open new businesses. So we're looking forward to a winter of conversations. So that's what we have tonight.
All right, thanks, Sheila.
Thank you.
City engineer report.
All right, Sheila said that the streets are done for the year, so that's all I'm gonna say too. Main Street is wrapped up for the year. I don't expect to see anything else out there unless we have something changed, or we'd have to have something happen in short order. Otherwise, that's looking pretty good for the year. I wrote in your packet some things that need to happen this spring, and that's on all of our projects that are outstanding. We have, usual seeding, that kind of stuff, final work once the grass starts to grow. But otherwise, everything's pretty well buttoned up for the year. Had a couple of erosion control inspections from the watershed district, getting those taken care of and looking good. But otherwise, unless you guys have questions, short report from me.
I got a couple questions.
Yes, sir.
Number one, the easy one, probably Main Street.
Yes.
I had a couple of concerns that people talked about down toward the hospital. It's rough. The new street is rough. So while they haven't put the final layer on yet, it's coming in the spring. So if there are some spots that aren't quite as smooth as you'd expect out of a new road, the manholes will improve, correct?
Absolutely.
All right, that's what I like to hear.
Yeah, they're all adjusted up 1.5 inches and then paved appropriately.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So that street's not completely done, just done for the year.
Correct.
So, number two, the First Street South,
Yes.
next to the bowling alley, the parking lot there. I pulled in there because I will, and I'm like, wow, that's new. That's almost as bad as it was before. And the going into the parking lot, it's a mountable curb,
Mhm.
but it's not like the curb is not the approach curb. Does that make sense? Like Main Street was done with the Finkins, like that one.
The
Does that make sense?
smooth
Or
end,
by
yeah.
the laundromat. I think there was a lot of concern by a couple individuals that may not have been either done right, or maybe, I don't know what the plan said, if that was what was in the plan, or what was. So if you could take a look at that and give
Yeah,
us a report back on that, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. That's-
Okay. I don't know, go down there, and you can pull in the parking lot down there from First
I
Street
noticed
once,
it
just
too.
so-
I thought it was gonna be more of a, just a, like, you wouldn't notice the difference coming out.
Oh, that was definitely not the intention. The intention was to
Yeah.
have a curb there, and,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, to have a curb
I
there,
didn't know
not
that that was gonna be a
like-
curb. I thought that was you parked in and you could come right out.
With the grades out there, you couldn't do that. We need to make up elevation, so without doing that, yeah, you couldn't do it.
You'd have to cut the parking lot down a little bit to make
Which
it,
we already had to cut back over quite a ways, so.
okay,
Okay.
Yeah.
all right.
Sounds good.
Okay, well,
We could still look at it more.
yeah, look at it a little bit, go pull him in out of there a couple times, see what you think. But
Absolutely.
Anyway, appreciate it.
Yep.
Thanks, Dave. City Administrator,
We are currently hiring for a police officer, and on the utility side, we are currently looking for an electric line supervisor. The good news is we have hired an electric line worker. Recently, last week, Justin Lundblad started with the electric department last week, so we do have another line worker with that department. We had reported last month that Jolene and I met with Jen Tashida and Vicki Herkenoff with CentraCare. Actually, Jen is the president of CentraCare, and Vicki is the Stearns, she's with Stearns Electric, but she serves as a chair of the Melrose Community Advisory Board. And it was to really discuss the relationship between CentraCare and the city. After we had that meeting, I reported on that at the last city council meeting, and we were gonna have Jen come to this meeting to talk about that. She has some nurse managers, and she's got some other folks she would like to introduce. So the question is it appropriate for her to do that at a regular council meeting, or would you guys like to just meet with CentraCare in a work session? We can certainly have them come back next month if you would like. Otherwise, if you would rather just meet with Centricare and maybe hear not just about what's happening locally and that relationship, but talking about the rural healthcare. Tony and I were able to attend a meeting the other night that was very interesting regarding the new campus that's going up in St. Cloud. So it's up to you guys. I just wanted to put that out there and see what your thoughts were. So I'd like some direction.
Do we have any special meetings or work sessions coming up?
We probably will. That's another thing, we probably will. I'm gonna request a work session for labor
Because
negotiations.
that might be a better, better setting, just to have a conversation with them,
Right,
rather
agree.
than you guys all having to sit through it, right?
yeah. That's
I mean,
kind
I
of
know-
what we
I
were
know-
thinking.
I know Brooke does, but.
So, if we do have a work session, maybe we just do Centricare first and
Right.
or, because I am going to be requesting that you guys put together a work session with the PUC to button up all the rest of our labor stuff, so,
All right.
Would the ambulance attend that work session?
yes, absolutely.
And Carol gets an invite, I'm sure.
Mhm. Certainly can. If you want.
Okay.
All right, I
Sounds good.
will report back to Centricare and we'll let you guys know. And then I am bringing this before you again. I had a meeting with Land O'Lakes. We're actually talking with Land O'Lakes about some solar types of projects. That's one area that we talked about. The other thing is they brought, if you recall, I brought this up to you probably about 4 months ago. Land O'Lakes would like to have us consider changing the name of Craft Drive. In the meeting that I had with them just last week, they had made that as a request again. I'm bringing it back before you to see if that is anything that you guys have any interest in looking at.
Is it because it's not a craft company anymore?
I suppose, I don't know. Yeah. Would it be better if it's, because like Jenny O is Turkey Lane, would it be better if it were something like Dairy Way? But you have to remember, there's established residents and businesses on that road as well, a lot of them. So it's up to you. I did say to Land O'Lakes I would bring it back to the council. The last time we had this discussion, if you'll recall, one of the things that we had talked about is it's not necessarily because of the company, it's because of the history of that, the presence in our community. So it was a historical reason for the naming to begin with.
Yeah, so maybe relevant here, but years ago, where I grew up was South Third Avenue West, I think, is what the street name was.
Oh, yeah, the south
And
and
then
the
when they
west
started
were-
developing all the neighborhoods behind us, they called them like Park Drive and Bogey Run and everything related to the golf course. But we're right on the golf course and we were Third Avenue South. So the neighborhood got together and like, hey, you know what? You should call it like Meadowlark Lane or something, or whatever, so they came up with Country Club Drive. So they got a petition started, everybody on the road signed it. So I think if that's the angle, then I think it should come from not only MDP, but also the residents out there, and maybe Stearns, St. Mary's they could check with, come up with a name that they can all agree on. The last thing we want to do is change something and create an issue on the other side.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's.
And have
by
a
consensus or
petition
whatever.
kind of thing where
Yeah.
they all sign off.
Right. They can come up with a name they like, and I don't have a problem changing the street name.
If the neighborhood
If
agrees.
If
Yeah,
everybody agrees to
but
it.
everybody needs
You
to
don't
be
know.
on the same page.
Right.
Okay, those are the only things I have. I have a couple things later on. Thank you.
Yep. All right, on to action items. Abdo Financial Solutions Contract Extension.
Yeah, so, and Tessa's here and she can talk through that with you, but one of the things, per our request actually, Abdu has submitted a proposal extending their services through June 30th, 2025. Obviously with Jackie coming on board, when she did, just the timing of it, we needed Abdu to be able to work through the budget process with us. I had sent you a memo as part of the council packet, and in that it talked about what things we as a city, our finance director is currently doing. And then there's a couple things within the original contract that we had with Abdu that we haven't done yet. And that's simply because they haven't come up, TIF reporting or some of these kind of things like that. But you know, I would say, and Jackie's here, you can ask her, but I would say she's very comfortable with, you know, the reconciliations and the month-to-month stuff. So the next part of what we need to do is, per the Government Accounting Standards Board, we are required to comply with Government Accounting Standard 87, 96, and 101. Those are all for the 2024 audit. So it's based on, you know, probably our projects and a multitude of other things. But anyway, the extension of the service agreement with Abdu would be able to provide that continued support and additional services specifically related to the audit. You had asked about what that would cost, and what we do is we get charged on an hourly basis from Abdu, and they have hours based on who does the work. We have the advantage of having Tessa, who used to be our finance director, doing the majority of the work, so it takes her probably 1/3 of the time that it would take some of the other folks that work there. So that's where we're at, and so the council to give consideration concurring with the Public Utilities Commission, which they did approve at their approve the extension of the service agreement at their last meeting with Abdu Financial Solutions. And again, if you have specific questions, I'm sure Tessa is more than happy to answer those for you.
I'm just kind of curious if you have any idea, like, the number of hours that we're talking, or, yeah, go ahead.
So, the city has their annual audit typically in, mid-February. So with the year end, it's a pretty tight turnaround. While a lot of the items you try to do throughout the year, there's a lot of reconciling items at year end, a lot of accrual entries, and as Colleen mentioned, some new accounting standards. I typically spent a lot of time between January and February in getting to that place. So when the auditors came, it wasn't doing those reconciliations or making those audit entries. It was all done. As far as the number of hours, it's hard to determine. It's those type of things that I think with everything we do, we'll work with the city and determine if it's something that they would like to get some of the schedules prepared in-house and then have assistance in closing out the year, if it's something that would be easier to have us do, and in all of those, using it as a learning opportunity to be able to work alongside Jackie and looking at this as a one-year thing, but having that opportunity to show where the information comes from, what we do, why we do it, so that when it comes to next year and throughout the year, as you're thinking about that, it's all in there. To give you an hour's estimate.
Or budget number.
Right. I would say there was probably at least 100 hours that went into preparing for it. And that brought down that cost of the audit then.
Right.
Because
And
they charged less not having to
does
do that.
Abdu do our audit too?
It does.
Okay,
So
so-
that does add a slight,
Wrinkle? No?
because ABDA does the audit and to maintain independence.
Right.
I do not post anything in your system. I can work with the city and give proposed entries, and I try to, and I'd want to anyway, just to be able to explain it. But then any adjustment is posted by the city. I do not, I can look in your system, but I cannot post to it. So
Right.
that,
Pull information
just
out.
that timing of it, right. Inquiry, I don't even have rights set up to make any updates to it. So that always adds a little bit of time to it, that back and forth, where before if I made an entry, I can just go and post it and move on. But it works.
Right. Okay, yeah, I mean, obviously we have a need for it. It would be nice to get, obviously, I don't want to say, get as much as we can out of it, so if Jackie, obviously fairly new yet, grab as much knowledge as she can to the way things need to be set up for audit and, get stuff prepared for it. Because that'll save money next year for us
Absolutely.
when we have to do an audit, right?
And with the proposed extension, keep in mind you're not tied to anything. It's on an hourly basis, so if you determine we don't want to do anymore,
Yeah.
you're not tied to that June 30th date. But that was proposed to get you through the audit, so with the submission of the audit report, as well as different items that come up between now and then. For example, like Colleen mentioned, the TIF payments. We have to do those pay-as-you-go payments, which that, by the time those were done the last time, it was when Ryan was here, or the fire and ambulance budget is done in January, so that would be something new, or insurance. Those type of things that come up,
Yep.
just to be able to walk through
Okay.
those.
It's almost like more of a retainer type of thing.
Absolutely, yes.
If we need to, we
Just for
can-
those questions that come up.
Right, okay. Thanks, Tessa. Does anybody else have any other questions?
No, I just feel that that's important, that she's getting her training.
Right.
Moving into a position that I moved into, I didn't get no training, so. Yeah.
All right. So, sorry, lost my page again. We have action item, consideration concurring with the Public Utilities Commission approving the extension of the service agreement with Abdul Financial Solutions. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Motion second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Back up to C.
Back up to C. We have police vehicle equipment, and that would be Chief Mouse.
Yes, before you tonight is a proposal or consideration for the equipment going into the new squad car. We did exceed the $10,000 mark, so 2 quotes were gathered. The quote in front of you that I'm recommending is for DTM Fleet Services, who we have done business with for an extensive period of time. An interesting situation, just in 2 years, it's gone up $5,000 for basically the same build. We sold our 2014 Police Interceptor sedan car. That, I found the paperwork on that, it was a $24,000 car in 2014, and the one we just purchased was $44,000. So the costs don't change, and they haven't been favorable, obviously, in the last several years, but we have had a good working relationship with DTM. The other company is very reputable as well, but they were more expensive for, it was truly an apples-to-apples quote as far as the number of lights and the quality of the equipment and those sorts of things. So I'm just recommending to stay with DTM and the lower quote in the situation.
All right. I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion, you got a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. D, nope, E, fingerprint policy. Is that also Craig, or is that?
I can take that one. So the BCA performed an audit on fingerprint-based background checks and policies for the Melrose Police Department. It was determined that the city policy needs to include policy on fingerprint-based criminal history record information checks made for non-criminal justice purposes. So there is, it was in your packet, language regarding that, and I'm gonna recommend that you consider it, give consideration approving the revisions to the city policy.
Yeah, this is only specifically for, it's not for the general public.
No,
Somebody,
no.
you know, people hear fingerprint policy and, but no, it's only for internal use.
Yeah, it's for the people that we hired to do custodial work, as an
Right.
example.
Okay. Any questions? Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. There is no old business. New business, council to review and discuss 25 meeting schedule. Are there any questions on that?
I do have a comment to make on that, as pointed out, currently I have a meeting scheduled for June 19th, which we probably are not going to be able to hold that meeting on that, it's going to be a holiday.
Oh,
So
right.
if you want to look now, or at some point we'll have to reset that June meeting, whether we,
Yeah.
to some other date.
Okay.
And I actually am going to request that the council give consideration to moving the April meeting date as well. I am not going to be here, and we can either do it the Wednesday, the day before, or sometime around there. But if
Okay.
you could give that consideration, I would appreciate it.
Sounds good. Any questions on that? We don't even need, that's just a
Yeah.
information, more of an informational item. Okay.
And then the other thing I did want to also mention, I mentioned it in the work session, or the budget meeting, is I would like to get together with the council and the PUC sooner rather than later. Obviously not before Thanksgiving, but depending on what we do, it's a huge scramble and a huge thing for our admin staff, especially our finance side and our payroll side, to deal with cost of living increases, market rate adjustments, all those things. We have, for all intents and purposes, settled LELS. It's just AFSCME that has not been settled. So I would like to call a special meeting of the PUC and council just to get a finalization of those things. So I don't know what you guys want to do, but if Patty can send you out some dates, perhaps that first week in December after Thanksgiving, if that would be all right. I can't do it December 2nd because I'm going to be, just so you know, Bonner, we have to go to mediation, so we're going to be down in the cities for that.
Okay. Yeah, you sent out a date. And,
Okay, we can do that.
It's kind of one of them things where
Yep,
try to schedule a meeting at
Yep.
hit and miss, so.
try and get it done as soon as we can.
I have
That's all I
one
have.
more
Okay.
thing for that, back to that Centricare thing, if we do that, hold that in a workshop, should we still extend just to Jen if she ever wants to share something at?
Oh, for sure,
council?
she can
Oh,
come anytime
just
to a
put it
meeting.
on.
Right.
Yeah,
You know,
this is
'cause
more,
Sometimes there's maybe something the
Mhm.
community would, even if it's once a year.
Just a
yeah,
presentation.
that would actually be a great idea,
You
but
could-
this is more just to
No,
really
that's-
get that.
I was thinking just invite them to come anytime. or
Yep,
at
I
least once a
absolutely
year.
will. You bet.
Other than that, just have informational item minutes of the Public Utilities Commission meeting from October 14th. Meeting to adjourn, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, meeting is adjourned. Thanks for coming, everybody.